Hi guys, so I have a tutorial for you, and this is a highly requested tutorial, and this is of a zipper pouch. Now we are going to accomplish three things today with our zipper tote, our zipper pouch, zipper tote, whatever you want to call it. And let me tell you the three things we're going to do. Number one, I'm going to show you in this tutorial how to create a zipper tote, zipper pouch with fabric. Okay, so we're gonna do that, and that is number one that it's gonna accomplish. Number two, I'm gonna teach you, which many of you have asked. I did a project share, which I'll link in the description bar, where I used Poochie, who's Poochie's Hats on YouTube. I used her digital ephemera. I created a sheet of paper with it, and I printed it on fabric, the digital sheet of paper that I created with her ephemera, and then I made her a bag, like a little zipper tote. So I'm gonna teach you what you need to print on fabric. It is so easy. I'm gonna show you all the supplies you're gonna need. So it's fulfilling that is part two that it's gonna fulfill. Part three is I am hosting a second annual My Favorite Things swap, which is gonna be due. Reveals are coming soon. They're gonna be on my channel for basically the month of February. And I am using my all-time favorite collection, which is Wood & Grove, and one of the requirements is Crafter's Choice, and this is something that I wanted to include in my swap. So I'm actually going to be making two of these. I made one already, which I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to make one with you in a second. So I'm actually going to be making two, but we are going to make this. So I printed my favorite page of the whole collection, which is this sheet of paper, and I printed this onto fabric, and we just made a zipper tote. I did show you how to make these little zipper pulls. I taught you about how to sew with a zipper that is not already made. So this zipper was one that I got at Hobby Lobby that was super long that we had to trim, but this project could obviously be done with the Amazon zippers that I showed you in my last tutorial. So I will have every single thing linked in the description bar. I will also try to put the measurements to the best of my ability, but everything will be discussed in the tutorial. So if you want to make this pretty thing, say you have your favorite collection, then you can go ahead and do that. And something that I want to note is I'm going to talk to you about printing fabric. Now, if you own the digitals of your favorite collection, then you can print it straight from that. But if you do not, you can take a sheet of paper that you already own, right? And then you can scan it, because it's for personal use, so you are allowed to scan it, and then you can use that to print the fabric, okay? That's something that I forgot to say later on in this tutorial, but I did want to make a note of that. So even if you don't own the digitals of your collection, if you own a sheet of paper that you want to turn into fabric, you can still do this. As long as your printer has a scanner, then you can do that, okay? So that's something that I forgot to mention. I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. So you guys, if you want to see this, if you want to know all the supplies, they'll be linked. And of course, in typical fashion, I'm going to give you a lot of tips and tricks along the way, and just kind of easy ways to make sewing a little bit easier. And so if you are down for that, then stay tuned. Okay, so now that we know what we're going to be making, let's talk about what we're going to need. So I have my little bin of supplies here, and this, like I talked about earlier, we're going to accomplish a lot of things here. So let me talk a little bit about what we're going to need. So some of the easy stuff, we're going to need an 1/8 inch double-sided tape. This is optional, but I am trying it out. I don't usually use this, in full transparency, but I do want to try it out today because I've seen a few videos where people use this. I do have a zipper. I did show you guys my Amazon special that I love getting, that's about half of this length, which is usually fine, but I just wanted to show you how to use the zippers that you can get at Hobby Lobby, or if you end up with a longer zipper. I'm going to show you. I will put links to everything in the description bar. You need a rotary trimmer, or you need a pair of scissors. You definitely need a pair of scissors, but the rotary trimmer is optional. This is just how I'm going to cut the fabric. You need some thread. I like to use Gutermann. I wanted to show you guys that I got this set of 26 different spools, and it comes in this cute container under here. And it was on Amazon, and it was a pretty good price. So I'll make sure that I link this below, but I'm going to use this color, and I don't know what the color is called, CA02776, maybe, or maybe color 370. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to use this, and then you're going to need an iron. I have my little portable one here, and I will link it in the description, but I love this iron, but you could also just use your regular one that you use for your regular stuff. I just have one in my craft room. You're gonna need my trusty quilt clips that I recommend that everyone have. And then I'm gonna use some fusible interfacing. This step is technically optional, but it just provides more stability. And these are the ones that I got for a penny at the Dollar Tree that I've been using. I've probably used 10 of these already. Something that I didn't notice though when I was purchasing them is that the Dollar Tree fusible interfacing actually comes in 2 different weights. It has this lightweight and it has the heavyweight. So I don't know, the lightweight said it's good for dresses and blouses, and the heavyweight says good for jackets and waistbands. I don't know which one we're gonna use. I don't know which one I've used already, because I probably was using them like interchangeably. I think we're probably gonna use, I don't know. I think we'll use the lightweight one. Or maybe we'll use the heavy. I don't know. We'll decide later. But anyway, you need some interfacing. This is optional. This just, like I said, your bag, it just provides your bag with more stability. And then you're going to need fabric. More on the fabric. So let's talk about the fabric actually. So I have some fabric here. Some of this I got at Dollar Tree. Some of y'all are finding these at Dollar Tree for a penny. This fabric here is more of like a fleece. Like it's, these are both 100% cotton, but this is like a little thicker. So if you're using this as a lining, something thicker, you may not need the interfacing. But if you're using something like thinner, like this fabric is just regular fabric that I probably got at, I don't even know, maybe Joann or Hobby Lobby. I have no idea. It was just in my stash. Then you may want to add the fusible interfacing, because and these are actually going to be our lining fabric, because I am also going to show you in this video, like I stated before, how you can print on fabric. So let me show you what I use to print on fabric. So I use this. This is printable cotton, basically. It's jacquard, and I'm gonna put a link. This has 30 sheets. Okay, guys, let me tell you how to do this. It is so incredibly simple. This is literally like using a sheet of paper. So you have 30 cotton sheets. So it just literally comes with the equivalent of paper, like just regular paper in there. And you literally put this in your machine the same way you would any other sheet of paper. So you'll be able to feel, because one side is textured, that's the side that has fabric, and one side is like a paper backing. And you put this in, according to your printer's instructions. So most printers, you're going to put it in face down, and it's going to go through the regular feeder, and it's just going to print it. Now this one is for inkjet printers only. I'm sure they make printable fabric for laser if you have that, but most of us have inkjet anyway. I think inkjet provides you with the most like color saturation, and this is what I would recommend. When I told you guys, if you watched my project share, when I made a zipper tote for Poochie, I told you guys that this is what I use, and that there was this really sweet lady on Instagram that helped me, and she made really cool stuff, and she showed me. She was like, it's so easy, you just use this link. And it was so easy. So I put this through my sewing machine. I try to print it on like max DPI, best quality, like play with your printer settings a little. And then I put it in there literally face down. I printed it, it's fine. So let me show you what it printed. So like I talked about earlier, we're also gonna accomplish, I am hosting a swap, and my swap is my favorite things. It's my 2nd annual one. And my favorite paper collection is Woodland Grove by Maggie Holmes. This is my favorite sheet of paper in the collection. And so I printed 2 of these because one I'm going to make for my swap and one I'm going to make for myself. So I printed 2 sheets. So this is printed. This is fabric. This is fabric. Now, the fabric, when you print it, it stays on the sheet. So this is still on the sheet. And then all you do literally is just like peel it off like it's a sticker. It's not sticky on the back, but it stays. And then you literally just peel this off. So I'm going to show you guys how it looks and how easy it is. And then it's literally going to become fabric, and we're going to use like regular fabric. If you don't want to do this step, obviously you can use just use regular fabric. This is going to be our outer fabric. So this is what our bag is going to look like. Our liner, see, look how it just peels right off. Our lining fabric is going to be one of those 3, which I haven't decided yet. So we're going to decide together. So as you can see, this is fabric now. Okay. So if you get these little strings, it's hard to resist pulling them, but try not to pull them. But if you have to pull them, then just pull them, and just pull them once and be done. Okay. That's because it's just going to eat into your fabric. So now this is fabric. So simple. So I'm going to peel off this one again, just in case. I know, it's easy peasy, but let's just do it one more time. And sometimes Like you see here how my black fabric, how this has like a little black ink. Sometimes when you do thicker paper, I have an Epson. I will link the printer that I got below, because actually that was a part of my Black Friday purchases that I forgot to put in my video. I got a regular printer, like an inkjet, and then I also got a wide format inkjet printer, also Epson. So I'll link both of those in the description bar. I've been really happy with it so far. I had an HP before this and it was driving me nuts. But I've done this, I've printed it. The last one I think I printed on my HP, so it works just fine. So now we have 2 sheets of fabric. So of course it's only 8.5 by 11, so you can only do smaller projects. You know, I could have, if I bought larger sheets, because I do have a wide format printer, I could have printed them bigger, but I think our little zipper tote is probably going to be like half of the size of this, and I think that's going to be super cute. So I am going to make 2, which is why I did 2, but you only need 1 for this project, because we're going to cut this in half and then we're going to make a little tote. Okay, so I think these are our 3 options. I always want to do pink, but I don't actually think this pink is the best. There is a small butterfly that's this pink. Should we do the pink? And then this I could do, or I could do this. Let's do the pink. Why not? Why not just do the pink? Even though these colors are so pretty. Since we're already doing blue, let's just pop in a little pink. And then I did pick a lighter shade of pink, which matches this, to do it for our zipper. Okay, so those are all the tools we're gonna need basically. And you know, you're probably gonna need maybe a pen, just a few other things, but these are the major things. The only thing that you would need to make sure you have like 100% is the fabric, any kind. If you're gonna print it, you need to obviously have the printed fabric. You definitely need the scissors. You definitely need the zipper. And you need your sewing machine and your thread. But other than that, everything else is pseudo optional, okay? And you'll see how I use it, and then you can determine if you want to use it or not. Okay, so let's get sewing. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so cute, and I'm obsessed with this paper. All right, guys, so I'll be right back. Okay, guys, so since we cut our napkins with our fresh blade, I am so curious to know whether or not our fabric is going to cut with it. So let's try it. All right, so this is 8.5 by 11. And so I'm just going to cut it at 5.5 because that's half of this sheet. And I'm going to leave, when you print, typically, even if you try borderless printing, sometimes it just doesn't do it. So, but if it has this white border around it, leave it, because we're going to end up sewing a seam allowance anyway. So I think it's fine. It's going to cover it. So don't cut that off, okay? Because then you're just making your pouch small. And I want my pouch to be as big as possible. So I'm going to move this to 5.5. And then I'm going to line it up. Remember what I said. Make sure you're lined up all the way across the line, okay? And on your scoring board, so that you can make sure you cut it in a straight line. Again, this doesn't have to be like 100% perfect, but I like to make it perfect if I can. Okay, so let's see. You guys! I'm going to start in the middle, because remember, we kind of want to sink the blade first. It gives us the less chance of like tearing or pulling or whatever is going to happen. I've never done this. Let's see if it works. Oh my gosh, let's see. Hold on. Okay, that's lined up right there. Hold this down. Okay, I'm going to start in the middle. I'm pressing down my blade right now. It's working. Oh my gosh. Because let me tell you something. The bane of my existence is cutting this fabric. Cutting fabric is so hard for me with the rotary thing. Okay, so something else you could have done too is you could have just used scissors, you know. But now look, we have 2 sheets, and I am not even going to cut the sides. I want it to be like this size. I want it to be as big as I can get it. So here, now we have our 2 sides. Again, don't worry about the fact that this is on the top. Don't worry about the fact that this is on the bottom, because we're going to be stitching a seam allowance, so it's going to be fine. And when we do our zipper, it's going to take up some of this space too, so we're not going to worry about it. Okay, so first we cut our fabric. So that's our outside fabric. So let me see how long this is. I mean, how big this is. So this is a metric. This is a metric paper trimmer, which is why I'm not using the top. Sometimes I like to have it, because some tutorials that I watch are in centimeters, and I just feel like it's easier just to have a board that does it. But let's see here. So this, we said it was 5.5, duh. Okay, and then it's 8.5, right? Because it was a sheet of paper. Yeah, so it's 8.5 by 5.5. Okay, so it's just like if we were making like an A2 card. If we were folding this in half, we could make a card. Wouldn't this be the cutest card? That's an example for like what you would do with actual paper, you know? All right, so let's cut some, we need 2 lining pieces to match this. We also are gonna do a fun technique where we make little zipper tabs on each side. So we're going to need to cut those little squares as well. So we decided on this. So we are going to cut 5.5 by 8.5, right? And am I going to risk it and try to do 2 at once? I'm just doing too much, you guys, because this is already Let's see, is this, no, this is not cut in half. Let's see, where's the side that's cut in half? Okay, so we're gonna try to cut 2 at once because we're brave and daring today. Okay, we're gonna try to cut 2 at once, and we're only gonna cut it towards the bottom. So I'm not gonna worry about the fact that it's bunched up top, but I am gonna try to get it to about 5.5. I might do it like, you know, a little bigger because we're gonna trim this afterward, which is why if it's not perfect, you know, this part I'm more okay with because I have a lot of this fabric. It's the other printed fabric that I'm like, that's expensive to print your own. So that's why I care about that. Okay, so let's see if this works. Let's see. Oh my gosh, you guys, it worked. I cannot even believe this. Okay, so let's cut it to like right there. And then I'm gonna trim since I did 2 at a time. Where are my scissors? Okay, right here. Also, make sure you're using fabric scissors. Don't use your paper scissors because paper dulls scissors really quickly. So I use these pink ones, and I got these on Amazon. I'll put a link. It came in a 3-pack, very economical. But I use these as my like sewing ones. I just use these, and they work fine. It's fine. Okay, so now let us cut this side. And this we're gonna do at 8.5, right? At least. So maybe we'll even do like 9 because we're gonna trim it later. Or maybe we'll try to trim it at 8.5. Let's see what we can do. This has like the end of it. So I'm gonna cut it a little bit more because I'm gonna cut that little piece off. And remember, we're gonna trim it later, so this does not have to be perfect. And that is why cutting takes me so long, because I'm always trying to make it perfect, and it does not have to be perfect. So I'm gonna cut this like at like 8 and almost 9. Okay, I'm just gonna do that, which kind of is perfect because that's about how much I cut up here anyway. So it kind of worked out perfectly. All right, so I'm not gonna start right there in the middle. Go that way and then pick it up, and then I'm gonna cut the rest of this. Okay, good, nice. So we cut 2 at once because I had it folded over. So now we have 2 sheets of lining. And since we are doing, and then this is the part that I said I was gonna cut off. Since we did this thin one, I am gonna use the fusible interfacing, and I am gonna use the heavyweight one. I don't think this actually matters. I'm just doing this because I have it. It was 1 penny. Okay, so now we have that cut. We're also gonna wanna cut our fusible interfacing. So we're gonna want 4 pieces of this. We're gonna want 2 for this, and we're gonna want 2 for this, okay? So we are gonna want 4 sheets, and we want them to be just slightly under the size of this. So if this is 5.5 by 8.5, I'm probably gonna make this like 5 1/4 by 8 1/4. Okay, and we're just gonna do this. I mean, we're already using our paper trimmer, so why not? I might keep this paper trimmer as my sewing paper trimmer. So let us cut this as well. This is really easy to cut, and you'll notice on your fusible interfacing that one side is fusible, which means this side has glue on it that when you iron it, it'll stick to this, and that's what we want. And we're just using this heavyweight because it provides. Let me see how much thinner this one is, because I'm just curious now, because I honestly didn't even realize that they were different when I got them. I just grabbed whatever was there. Okay, so this is, oh yeah, there's definitely a difference, a big difference actually. And now I'm wondering if I should, no, I'm gonna use this to make our bag nice and sturdy. Okay, so you're gonna cut 4 of these. This is folded in 4. So because I'm on video, I'm gonna take advantage of that fact, and I'm only gonna cut over here because it'll make it nice and easy for me. So I'm gonna pull this over. I know that this is already what, 9 and some change. So I'm just gonna cut the 5 1/4 inch side, and then I'll trim this other side down after it's a little smaller. That's the thing about fabric, sometimes it's hard to work with. So remember, we wanna make this about 5 1/4, and this definitely does not have to be perfect because you're not gonna see it. Even if you cut it slightly larger, it's okay. Okay, yeah, this is very easy to trim. Oh my gosh, has anyone ever used their paper trimmer to cut thing? Like, tell me if I'm just like out of the loop or what. And let us move it over to 8 1/4 or close enough. I'm gonna do a little bit less, and then we're gonna trim this again. This is so easy to trim, wow. Okay, that's it. All right, so now we have our 4 pieces. So we have this and we have this. The only other thing left, like I said, we're gonna make little tabs for our zipper. And on the top of our bag, I would have shown you that their zipper is up top, but then on the side, I had 2 little cutesy tabs, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. It's very easy. So you're kind of gonna wanna determine how big you want your tabs to be. Because my zipper is so long, I get to choose. I think I'm gonna make mine like 1 inch each. So they're not gonna be super long. So I'm gonna make these, and then this This zipper is about 1 inch wide. I'm gonna do 2 inches by 2 inches, okay? Just because that's easy. So I'm gonna do that in my lining fabric because I don't want to pull another fabric for this project. So I just want to use, you know, use the fabric that we have. So now we have our lining fabric, and we're just gonna, I just want to cut little squares. So I have my little piece here that's already folded over. That saves me time, right? I'm gonna try to line them up. This does not have to be perfect again. And I keep forgetting that I need to come in from this side because I'm so used to putting my paper on the left side. Okay, so we need 4 of these, and we need, so I'm gonna cut, I cut 2 already, and I'm gonna show you how to cut 2 more. And just for ease, let me make these the same so that you guys will have an easier time following this tutorial. Okay, so I cut my 4 pieces. So I have 4 pieces, and these are in my lining fabric, and you're gonna see these on the outside, but I think it's gonna be cute with the different pinks. So you need 4 of these in the lining. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do our zipper first. So our zipper with this lining is not gonna be longer than obviously our bag, right? But we want to give ourselves some space so that we can trim it later. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold this on top of my outer fabric, and I'm gonna decide how long I want my zipper to open. So I'm gonna use a pen, and I'm kind of just gonna put a little mark, and you're gonna sew over this mark, so you don't have to worry about using, like, you know, erasable pen or anything like that. You can just use a regular pen, no big deal. I wanna see it, but I don't want it to be, like, you know, really super big. So I probably want it to go in, I don't know, maybe, so this is the middle. So I'm gonna draw what I'm gonna make my middle, right? That's gonna be my middle. And then don't draw this too far because you are gonna see some of this. And then I'm gonna say I want the zipper to stop like right here, and then I want the rest of it to be like the zipper thing. I just want a little bit. So I'm just gonna do a dot here. And then what I'm gonna do to make sure that this is even is I'm gonna fold right here, right? And then wherever I drew this dot, I'm gonna hold it there, and then I'm gonna draw a dot on the other side. Just a dot, okay? And we're not worried about this because we're gonna sew over this. So we're just gonna put a dot in about the same place, okay? So we're doing a dot right here, okay? So this is, we're gonna end up cutting our zipper, which is why the Amazon zippers would work, you know, just fine. But I did wanna show you guys how to do it with this super long zipper. And remember I told you guys in my last video that I get these zippers at Hobby Lobby, and the reason why I get them so long is because no matter what size you get at Hobby Lobby, they're all the same price. They're all $1. So I usually get them long just in case I need it for a larger project, and I never know, you know, how big am I gonna make this? So I just buy them big, and then I'll cut them down. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna stitch this closed, and we're just gonna do that just to save ourselves some heartache with this zipper, and you'll understand in a second, but we're basically gonna just open this up a little bit and stitch this closed on our machine. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna be right back, okay? I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna show you the rest of my stitching, but just for this part, I'm gonna stitch it, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so all I did was I just stitched across this, and the only reason why is because I want this to stay closed. Even when I'm unzipping it, I just want this side to stay closed, and normally on this side it doesn't stay closed. That's the only reason I did this. So you don't need how it looks doesn't matter. We're gonna end up cutting this off, but I just wanted to stitch it together, and that's what I did. So now what we're gonna do, you just wanna do this on the edges. You can use a ruler, and then you can just draw a straight line, and that'll make sure that that it's straight. And this is why I love T-rulers, and I'll link my T-ruler that I got for Black Friday in the description bar. I'm still using my old one, which as you see does not have any measurements right here. Oh gosh, sometimes I have a hard time like not using my old stuff and just moving on to my new stuff, because when my old stuff is not necessarily broken. So I'm gonna draw a line here, and then I'm also going to draw a line here, and this will make it easier for you to see, and also this will make it easier for you to stitch. And the reason why I like the T-ruler is because then I can make sure that my zipper is in line up top, and that I'm actually drawing a straight line, you know. Regular ruler can't do that for you. All right, so we have 2 straight lines. We're going to take our zipper little pull tabs that we did, and we're going to put one of them face up, and we're going to put the end of it with the end of this line, right? And then we're going to take the other one, and we're going to flip it over, and we're going to put this on top. And we want to make sure that it is in line. Okay, and then we're going to clip it on the top, and we're gonna clip it on the bottom. And when we get to the sewing machine, we're gonna stitch on 3 sides. We're gonna stitch here, we're gonna stitch here, and we're gonna stitch here. And that's it. We're gonna leave this side open, okay? We're gonna do the same thing over here. Okay, I zoomed in for this part. When you before you clip this, you wanna make sure that your zipper is in the middle of these 2 pieces, okay? So you want to, it's gonna be closed. It's kind of why I stitch this closed, but you wanna make sure that your zipper pull, this little tab or whatever this is called, I think this is your zipper pull or whatever it's called, is in the middle of these 2 before you stitch. Because if you stitch it outside of it, ask me how I know, then you'll end up with a zipper. You'll end up with a zipper that has tabs but no pull, okay? So you won't be able to open it, okay? So we are going to just make sure that, and we put this ugly side on over here. We're gonna make sure that this tab is in the middle of these before we stitch, okay? Before we go to our machine, okay? So we're gonna clip that. So hopefully you can see well because I zoomed in. And then we're gonna go to our sewing machine and we're gonna stitch this. Okay guys, so we are at the sewing machine and we are gonna work on our zipper. We're gonna move over to the zipper. Remember we had it already kind of lined up here, that this side is in line and that the other side is also in line. So if we stitch right across there, we should be good to go. So let us do that. So I wanna make sure, all I wanna make sure is that this is straight. Okay, that's the only thing that we have to worry about, being straight. And you don't have to worry about going close to this because again, we're gonna be doing some edits later. So you're just gonna do like a 1/4 inch seam allowance. There we go, we're more zoomed in now. We're gonna do about a 1/4 inch and that just means we're gonna line it up right here with this 1/4 inch mark. And we always backstitch when we want our stitches to stay in, okay? We always backstitch. And the fact that this doesn't line up over here does not matter, okay? So we're gonna go forward a little bit and then we're gonna backstitch, okay? And then we're gonna go forward again. Okay, and we're gonna double check one more time that we're lined up. We are. So we're gonna go across. We don't have to go right across that line, okay? We can go, you know, slightly inside the line and that's totally fine. I'm gonna go across here. Then I'm gonna go to this side and then I'm gonna finish. And again, the fact that that doesn't line up, don't worry about that. We're gonna end up cutting this part off anyway. We are gonna backstitch it here just to keep it on temporarily. Okay, and then I'm gonna cut. Okay, and now we're gonna do the other side. So we did this side, right? And now we're gonna do the other side. So we're gonna do the same thing again. So let us stitch, backstitch, because we want it to stay, even though it's temporary. Stitch across, stop a little bit beforehand, turn it, double check one more time that we're straight here on the top, straight here on the bottom. We are. Go across, stitch, okay? Go backwards again because I like my stuff to be sturdy. I don't want no problems. Okay, go forward again. Then we turn it around again, right here, turn, and then we're gonna stitch this to the end. And then we're gonna backstitch. Even though we're gonna cut this off later, we're gonna backstitch it to make sure that it stays. Okay, so now I'm gonna zoom out and show you what we're gonna do with this. Okay, so I've already done one side of this step, but what we're gonna basically do now that we have it off of our machine and we have it stitched is we're gonna basically pull these inside out. So over here, you see what we're aiming toward, which is we wanna miter our corners like this. And we wanna trim, like if we have anything that's really far away, which we don't really have anything that's really far away here. Like if we had a big piece here and our stitch line was right here, then we might trim some. But basically what we wanna do is we wanna just miter our corners, and this is just gonna make it easier for us to turn this tab inside out, which is what we're gonna do next. So we're gonna miter the corners. Now you do not want to cut. Let me see if I go really super close. Let's see if it'll let me zoom. Maybe there. You can see that my stitches are right here and they go down right here. Do you see that? Okay, so when I cut, I don't wanna cut my stitches. Okay, so I'm trying to do this, looking at the camera. But we wanna just basically trim the corners, okay? We do not want to cut our stitches. Let me look underneath this camera to make sure that I don't cut my stitches. Okay, we don't want to do that. So we just do a little bit, just to miter both sides, okay? We have our little hidden tab right here, our little pull right there, okay? Also, while we're here, let's trim our zipper. So we're gonna trim, because we don't need all this extra zipper now. So we have all this extra zipper here, we don't need it. So we're gonna just cut off right here. And then we're also gonna cut off this side. And this is why, as long as your zipper with your tab is as long as the top of your bag, you're good to go. So we don't need these anymore, so we're gonna discard of those. And then we're gonna pull this guy inside out, which I feel like is the most satisfying thing about sewing, is like turning something right side out and realizing that it looks perfect. Okay, so let's do it. So we're gonna pull on this side. And they have like special tools for this, like turning your stuff inside out. However, I use a chopstick, which I know a lot of people use, but I also use this, which is the bone folder that came with one of my many We Are Maker tools. So I'm just going to actually just use that because it has a dull edge and I don't have to worry about sticking sticking it all the way through. This is not the time to use your pokey tool because you will put a hole in this and then you'll have to turn it back inside out and restitch it and then turn it back outside in right side out again. This is not the time, but you see how that looks perfect? Okay, let's do the other side. So we're gonna pull that open and look at our little zipper thing here. Oh my gosh, look how cute. Okay, so we're gonna pull this and we are going to turn it. Everything moves slower on camera because I can't see. I'm having to duck and go underneath the camera so that you guys can see. Okay, so we do that side. And if for some reason, you have a hole here, that's okay. Just turn it back, stitch it again, and try again. Okay, you don't have to start over. You don't have to start over. Also, if for some reason you forgot to put this in the middle, that is okay. Just remove this tab using a seam ripper or scissors or something sharp, and then just try again. Cut a new piece and start again, okay? Again, ask me how I know. All right, so look, now we have our zipper and our little tabs on the end. So we are going to top stitch. Now we're only gonna top stitch right here because actually we're gonna end up cutting this part off, which is not yet, okay? So we're gonna pull this, make sure that our corners look good and we're happy with them. And if like here, if I wanted to turn that corner a little bit more, I could. Let's see if I can get it to go. I don't want to push it too much because I don't want it to like tear. Yeah, that's good enough. It's fine. Again, we're going to end up cutting that part off anyway. So what am I talking about? So you want to back stitch up here, top stitch across, back stitch, and we're going to do the same thing right here, just on this side. Okay. We're not going to do anything over here. So I'm actually going to do that off camera and then I'm going to be right back. Okay. Remember, back stitch about 1/8 of an inch in, back stitch, come all the way down, back stitch. Over here, do the same thing. Back stitch, come all the way down, back stitch, okay? I promise you can do it. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, we did it. All right, so all we did was we top stitched right here. It's gonna be hard to see because my thread is so light colored, but I just top stitched right here and then I top stitched right here. Okay, and I'm gonna close my zipper and look how cute this is. Oh my goodness gracious, so cute. All right, so now the hardest part is over, okay? We have done our zipper. I'm just gonna trim this even though, again, we're gonna cut this off, but I'm a super neat crafter. We really don't have to do this. It's just me wasting time. Okay, let me not wait. I'm gonna cut this out probably or speed it up. Okay, we want to take our lining that we made and we did 4, right? And we want to iron it to the backs of these. So how do we do this? All we do is very simple, is you take your iron, no steam, and you take one of your lining pieces and you put it right here in the middle. It doesn't have to be perfect. Put it right here in the middle. And then you iron it. And as the heat goes on here, it will melt the glue that's underneath and it'll melt it onto here. So then this side does not have glue. This side is the glue side. So you're using the glue side to glue it to the back side of the fabric. And then this will be done. You're gonna do the same thing with the other side. So you're gonna take this and we're gonna iron it. We're gonna iron it right onto here, like this. Okay, so we're gonna iron that right in kind of towards the middle. The only reason why you do it in the middle is because when you're stitching, it's just less to stitch if you don't have to stitch on top of this. But if you have to stitch on top of it, it's not a big deal. And then we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to turn this over, and then we're going to take the glue side, which you can feel, and then we're going to glue it there. And then on here, we're going to do the same thing. Flip it over on our fourth side, glue side. You can feel it, and then put it here. And we're going to go through and we're going to iron these on. We are over at our ironing board for you. For me, I have a little pressing pad here that I keep on my desk, and we're going to iron. I'm going to show you me doing this once at regular speed, and then I'm going to speed up the rest because most of us know how to iron, right? So the only thing important here is that I'm ironing it on linen and cotton. And then also you want to make sure that your steam is not on my iron. This indicates that I don't have steam. You don't want steam for this step. And literally all you're going to do is just iron this on, like very simple, very, very simple. So we are literally just going to iron this. I'm going to hope that I don't move the camera a million times, but I'm not used to like recording in multiple spaces. And also I just changed around my craft desk. So lots of changes here over here. This is my first project that I'm actually doing on it. So yeah. So once you do this, okay, so this is, my iron is not heated up yet. Once you do this, then your fusible interfacing will be attached and you won't be able to peel it off. So that's what happens. It basically like glues itself to this. And this iron is not heated up yet, but I'm just using it because I can't wait. I have no patience. So let me see. Okay, yeah. All right. So we are going to iron this. We are ironing. We're ironing. We're ironing. Okay. And okay, now we're good. And you can iron it from the front too if you want. I would not do this on my printed fabric. I did this actually when I made the other tote that I printed, and I just feel like sometimes you run the risk, especially if your ink is not all the way dry, which I let this dry up for 24 hours, but you run the risk of like discoloring this. So I'm just going to iron that on the back. So I am going to iron the rest of these, speed this up, and then we will continue on. Okay, so now all 4 of our fabric has been fused to our fusible interfacing on the back. So as you can see, they're not peeling off. They're not coming off anymore because they are stuck on here. I'm going to leave my iron out because there's some more pressing we're going to do soon. But for now, we are going to head over to our sewing machine. So now we're going to take one lining piece and one outer piece, okay? And the direction, remember I did directional fabric because I like to do hard stuff on here so that if I do the hardest possible combinations, you guys can do the easy ones, okay? So if your fabric is not directional, you don't have to worry about direction, but I do because I chose directional fabric. So let me slide this up a little bit more so that you can see more. Okay, I think that's good. Let's see. Adjust the zoom, good. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We have our zipper, right? We have our 2 fabrics. We are gonna take our lining fabric and we are going to take it face up. And this is where we're going to use 1/8 inch tape. Now, I saw somebody do this. I have never used this, but I'm going to see if it makes it easier for me because usually I just use a gajillion clips. So I'm going to put 1/8 inch regular old double-sided tape. Score tape is the best. I'll put a link to it in the description bar. It'll be in the many links of items, and we're just gonna put that down like that, right? And then we're gonna pull that up, just the backing, and leave the sticky part on here, okay? The reason why this is okay is because we're not actually gonna touch, we're not actually gonna sew on this, it's just gonna be inside. And we're gonna take our zipper, right side facing up, our zipper little pull thing is to the left, and we're gonna try to center it. I should have drawn, if I was smart, I would have, drawn a thing, but I have a ruler and I know that this is 8.5 inches wide. So I'm going to make sure that this mark is at the 4 1/4, which is right here. And I'm going to line up the top of this with the top of my zipper, not the top of this, the top of the zipper. Okay. So I'm going to put it like right here. I'm going to look, I can't really see because you know, you guys are in my way. You're in my way. Okay. Put this here. And then I want to line this up just across the top. And why I think people use double-sided tape is because it makes it easier. Okay, so we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do this side. So we're gonna make sure that the top lines up, right up top there. Okay, and then we don't worry about where it lines up over here. Okay, we don't worry about that. So we have one half of our little zipper sandwich. Then we're gonna put another line of tape. That is what the people say to do. I don't make the rules. In the same place, you know, just about. I'm not gonna worry about the fact that that goes upward. That's fine. And now we're gonna take our fabric direction up. Okay. So the right side is gonna go down, but our fabric, if our fabric is directional, we want to make sure that the top is up here. Okay. So we're gonna do this like so, and then we're gonna take off our little piece of 1/8 inch tape here, and we're also gonna line up. We're gonna use our lining, which is the same size, to find our center, okay? And we're gonna also do this lined up with the very edge of here, okay? So let's do that. I can't really see because, again, you guys are in my way. Okay, let's see. So let us see if we're even close. Yes, right here. And actually, our little glass house, our little greenhouse is right in the center, so that makes it easy. And then over here. So now I don't have to use a whole bunch of clips. This is my first time doing this. I like it. I'm not gonna lie. I like it. I like it. Okay, so look, so now we have a little sandwich. So we have our liner on the back, and then we have our fabric, which, as you can see, I did not line it up that great, which is easy when we're using double-sided tape. Just pull it off and do it again. Okay, let me turn it to the side so I can actually see, because I'm just guessing at this point. All right, so we're gonna line it up. Easy peasy. Only because I want to maximize on how much of this beautiful fabric I get to see. Okay, so now we're lined up. Good, good, good. All right, now we're gonna take this to our machine. Remember, our zipper is inside here. So I'm gonna show you when we get to the machine how to like maneuver around it. But we are gonna sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance, meaning this is gonna be on the 1/4 inch mark, and then we're gonna stitch on the inside of here. We're gonna back stitch, stitch down here, dun dun dun, and then back stitch. Okay, let us go to the back to the machine. We're moving all over the place today. Okay, so remember, our double-sided tape is right here. Okay, so what we're gonna do, and remember, our zipper is right here, so it's kind of annoying. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up my zipper a little bit just to pull it out of the way, and then I'm gonna close it. Okay. So now I'm going to start back here, and I want my lining and my fabric to be, you know, moderately straight. It's okay if your lining goes out here. We're going to trim that later, and that always happens with lining. It's fine. So that is what we're going to do. So we are going to, and remember to do 1/4 inch seam allowance. You see this little 1/4 inch? We're going to make sure that our edge is lined up with that. And then we are going to stitch right across. We're going to back stitch, and then we're going to stitch. So let's do it. So we're going to go forward. We're going to go back a little bit. And then we're going to go forward, and we're going to keep it straight by keeping it lined up here. That's how you keep sewing on a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now my zipper pull is all the way down here, so I'm not going to worry about it yet. So I'm going to go a little bit more. And then now that I have done quite a bit, I'm going to pull my zip. I'm going to open this up and pull my zipper closed past the zipper pull here, so that it's not going to be in my way later. Okay. So then I'm going to put my teeth back down, my little zipper foot back down. I don't know what I'm calling everything teeth, but we're going to keep going. Okay, go all the way to the end. Back stitch. Go forward. Easy peasy. Done. Okay, so now let's go back to the mat. Ooh, the amount of workout I'm getting by moving my sewing machine on and off of this mat. Okay, so now we stitched across here. Easy peasy, right? Okay, so now we're gonna open it up, and we're gonna have our satisfying view of the fact that it looks so perfect because we turned it around. And eventually we're gonna top stitch this, but we're not gonna do that yet because I want to minimize on the amount of times I gotta lift up that sewing machine. Okay. So now we're gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna use our other fabric. So now we're gonna turn our guy, we're gonna leave it this way, sorry, we're gonna leave it like this, and we're gonna do the same thing again. So we're gonna take our lining, right? And we're gonna put some double-sided tape right across the top again. That was a game changer. Honestly, I'm always gonna do that from now on. I wanted to show you guys, like, because I thought that would be easier than like clipping a million clips. It just makes it faster, honestly. And since I'm gonna make another one of these by myself right after I'm done with that, I'm glad that I tried this on the first go round. Okay, so now we're gonna also, so we have our thing sewn here. So now our zipper pull is on the right? Okay. So we are going to take this guy, and we don't need to use the ruler now because we know that it's going to be in line with this. So we're going to line it up side to side with this, and then we're going to go right to the top. And I'm going to do this sideways again because then I can see and you can see. We both can see. Okay, so I'm going to line this up on this side. I'm going to pull this. And actually, if you want, you can pull this kind of taut and then just like put a clip to hold it so that you don't have to keep pulling it. I'm actually going to put 3 clips. So I'm going to pull a clip here, pull this, and then put a clip. I'm going to do one more on the other side. A little baggie of clips here. I love these clips. I'm telling you, I glue stuff. I hold it down with these clips, okay? I use them for all kind of stuff. Now, the ones that I put glue on, I don't then use them on my fabric projects, but I mean, as long as you don't get glue on the thing, I think it's fine, or if you clean it after. All right, so now we know that this is pulled. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna line up the top of this edge with our little double-sided tape here. And remember, we want it to be in the middle. So we're just gonna use our other bottom piece to line it up. And it doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but we wanna do the best we can, okay? We wanna put our best foot forward when we're doing our projects. Okay, so that's that. And then I can also turn around here and see that it's pretty good. Okay, so we're doing over there, and right here, as you can see, there's a little bit of thing, so I'm just gonna pull it up because I can. It's easy peasy. Clipping would have taken 75 years, so this double-sided tape is a game changer. Okay, so now we have done it down here. Now we're also gonna put another layer of tape, and we're gonna put another layer at the very top here. Okay, now we're using directional fabric, right? So we're still going to do the same thing. Remember, direction, we're using directional fabric, so we're still going to do the same thing. Our direction up is going to be this way, and we're going to take this off. Just the backing, not the tape. Stay on tape. Okay, then we're going to turn this over. So our lining is underneath here. Our lining is underneath here, and it's right here. I'm going to turn this to the side so that I can see and you can see. And I'm going to line this up in this direction here with my other one. And then I'm going to line up the top with this double-sided tape, which is at the very top of our zipper. So right here, we're lining these up right here. Okay, then I'm going to look here so I can be lined up perfectly if possible. And so now we're going to go back to our machine, and we're going to stitch again. We're going to do the same thing we just did. We're going to use this as our edge for our 1/4 inch. We're going to stitch right here. We're going to back stitch up here, come straight down and back stitch. Okay, so let's go back to, let me move the machine again. You're not really going anywhere. I'm moving the machine. Okay, be right back. Okay, here we are again. So we are going to line up our edge here with that 1/4 inch, and we're going to do a back stitch, and then we're going to stitch it across. Easy peasy. Okay, so we're going to go forward, and then we're going to go backward. And remember, all the way over here is our little zipper tooth, or whatever it's called, or zipper pull. I've called it a million things during this video. You guys know what I'm talking about. Okay. All right, so then we're going to go across here. And just so we don't forget, I just like when I have done it a little bit, I like to open this up, go in here and pull my zipper over so that it is not in my way later. Okay, I don't want it in my way. All right, and then turn this back. Go back to a 1/4 inch. Push this down and keep on going. The reason why we care about it being at a 1/4 inch is because then it'll make it so that we have an even amount of the zipper on both sides. You'll see when we open this up. Okay, back stitch, forward, and cut. All right. All right, so let's open this up. Okay, so as you can see, we stitch across here. So now I can remove my clips, and you will see when you pull this up and you pull this one, you have two parts here. So we have, and we can pull our zipper closed. So we have our outside fabric facing up, right, on the two outsides here and here. And then if we flip this, we have our linings also facing up or facing down, and then the bottom of our zipper right here. Okay, so what we're gonna do, what I like to do now is I'm gonna go back to my my iron. That's why I told you not to put it away. And I'm gonna press this open. What does that mean? I'm gonna basically just try to make sure that this is straight, and I'm gonna iron this seam right here. Now you don't have to do this. Some people just finger press this, but I like to be neat, like I said. And I mean, some projects I will just finger press, but for this, because it is so pretty and I love it, I am gonna iron it. Actually, am I gonna iron it? Because I really don't wanna. I'm gonna iron it, but I'm gonna iron it from this side, okay? Because I'm gonna press this down with my finger, and then I'm gonna iron it, because I really don't wanna put the iron on my fabric because I don't want it to discolor it. Okay, so I'm gonna just try to do this with my finger, and then I'm gonna iron it from the other side. Okay, I'm not gonna iron on this side because I don't want to mess up my printed fabric. Now, if this was just regular fabric, I wouldn't think twice. I would just iron it, and no big deal, okay? But that's just what I'm gonna do for this, because this is my extra special prettiest. It's so pretty. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. Okay, let me not freak out right now. I'm gonna iron this. I'm not gonna take you guys with me, but I promise you, this is gonna be pressed open, and I will show you when I'm done, and this is gonna be pressed open, okay? So I'm gonna iron this. I'll be right back. Okay, look, it's all ironed. So we have a nice crisp line right here. And then when we turn it over, I did not iron on this side, but we still have a pretty crisp line right here. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go and we're gonna top stitch. So we're gonna top stitch. So we're gonna back stitch right here. We're gonna go across and then back stitch. So we're gonna go like about 1/8 of an inch in from this little crease. Okay, so our stitching is gonna be like right about here. Okay, same thing on this side. We're gonna go up here, back stitch, come down, back stitch, and then we're gonna come right back. Also, something that I wanted to note, yes, you are stitching through this, and this, okay? So don't worry, we are stitching through the lining, just in case you were wondering, because I just wanted to make that clear. Okay, be right back. Okay, so I ended up bringing you guys because I wanted to show you a little trick and secret. So I did lift up the machine again. When I want to sew a straight line and I want to do like 1/8 of an inch, what I basically do is I line up this side of my presser foot with the edge, and that helps me stay straight all the way across, at least straight with the fabric. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to go forward, and we don't have to worry about back stitching all the way here, because again, we're going to end up cutting that part off. So we're going to go forward, and then we're going to back stitch. Okay. And then we're going to go forward, and I'm going to make sure that my foot on this side stays in line with the fabric. And I'm also holding it open a little bit as I do this, just because I don't want any issues. Okay, so we're keeping that foot in line. And I'm gonna move this like I always do, just so I don't have problems, okay? And then we're gonna go back to stitching. And again, it's not gonna be like, 100% perfect, it's okay. Okay. Good. We're going to back stitch, and then we're going to go forward again, and then we're going to cut. Okay, now we're going to turn it around, and we're going to do the other side. We're going to do the same thing. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the mat. Okay, guys, so look what we have. So we have stitched like right along here. See that? And we also stitched right along here. Right? Okay, so we're almost done. We're literally at the finish. We're almost at the finish line. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna first we're gonna trim. That's what I wanna do first. So I wanna trim, because these are not even, I wanna trim this. Now I don't really wanna trim my outside fabric, because remember, I'm trying to keep as much of this beautiful fabric as I can, because I was limited. I could only print 8.5 by 11 with the paper that I have, the printable fabric that I had. Again, I cannot see, okay? And then we're gonna trim over here. I can't find my lint roller still. At this point, I'm just gonna order another one, because I've been without my lint roller for likely a whole entire week. And do you know how annoying it is to clean up these little threads? My lint roller just made life so much easier. Okay. Remember I told you guys, we don't worry about the fact that this is white because we're gonna end up stitching and trimming it. Okay. We're also gonna cut, while we're here, we're gonna cut this. Remember I told you we're gonna cut this off? We're gonna cut it in line with this. Okay. It might be a little bit hard because you might be cutting a little piece of, you know, you're cutting, at some point you're cutting like a bunch of fabrics, right? When you get to right there. So it might be a little bit hard, but as long as you have good scissors, you can manage it. Let me cut around the camera, Lord. Okay, here we go. Good. All right. So now we have what is going to be the end results. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, one last time, we're gonna go to the machine. No, we have 2 more times at the machine. This time at the machine, what we're gonna do is we are going to, first, we're gonna pin these together. So we're gonna pin our 2 outsides together and we're gonna pin our 2 liners together. So how are we gonna do this? All right, so we are going to pin, we're gonna make sure that these are even, okay? Because they were cut evenly, so they should be even. So we're gonna pin it right here. We're gonna put a bunch of clips on here. When I say pin, I mean clips. Now, if you wanna use pins, you can. I just like using clips. Number 1, I don't like putting all those holes in my fabric. And number 2, to me, clips are just a lot faster. So we're gonna clip the entire bottom of the outer fabric because we're gonna stitch this all the way around. And then when we get to our lining, it's gonna be a little bit different. Uh-oh. Okay, here. And then right here, it's gonna get a little bulky. Okay, I want my zipper to be pushed in toward the outside fabric. Okay, so push that and then it'll kind of, you know, fold, and then we're gonna line up the liner too. Okay, so we're gonna take this and we're gonna line it up and we're gonna do the sides just fine. But then when we get to this longer side, not the side I'm pinning right now, this side we're gonna pin normal, no big deal. When we get here, we're gonna leave an opening because we're gonna need to turn this inside out. And actually, I wanna open up my zipper. I don't think I need to, but I just want to just in case, because it just might make my life easier. So make sure your zipper is like halfway open. Okay, so I just went in and opened up my zipper. Can you see? Okay. And so now here, we're gonna leave an opening at the bottom. So we're gonna leave an opening like maybe from here to like right here. So when we sew, we're not gonna sew here. So we're gonna back stitch, go all the way around, come around, back stitch, and then we're gonna leave this open, okay? So let's not keep lining this up and keep pinning it. And I don't need to have a million pins, so I'm gonna hold it. Okay, and remember, like I said, here you're gonna have a little bit of a, let me fix the, here, just make sure that this points towards, because it's gonna be a little bit of a crease. You want your seams here to line up. So you want to clip them. So you want them to line up, and you also want your zipper to be like this little curve that the zipper makes. You want it to be toward your lining. I mean, sorry, toward your outside fabric. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make sure that these are even, right? So I'm gonna make sure that right here, these line up. See how that is? And I'm gonna clip right there. I'm gonna clip all 4 of those. And when I get over this side, I'm probably gonna stitch it a few times, because when it's thick like this, I just like to do it. And I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. I'm gonna make sure that this is pushed. Now it's gonna be to the right, because remember, this is my outside fabric. And I'm gonna close this up. And okay. Also, at this time, you can also trim these off. Not all the way to the edge, but you can trim these. So let me show you an example. So I'm gonna just trim this. I'm gonna just trim it like, not all the way to the seam, okay? I'm just gonna trim some of it off. Which is why I was telling you before that you don't have to worry about that being perfectly straight, because we're gonna end up cutting it. So I'm gonna trim some of this off. Okay, now remember, we're gonna go to the machine. Remember, we are not stitching in between here and here. Okay, this was flipped in the other direction before, so it was on the left, but we're not stitching between this side. So we're gonna back stitch, come all the way around, back stitch, leave this open, okay? So let's do that. I'm gonna go cut to the machine, okay? Okay, so I'm starting on the spot that I said I'm not gonna stitch, and I'm starting down here because this is where I'm gonna leave open. So I'm gonna back stitch there first. And I'm gonna do about a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around. So my 1/4 inch is lined up right here. And if I can find, there we go. I'm gonna go forward, I'm gonna back stitch, and then I'm gonna go all the way around, and I'm gonna I'm gonna speed this up, and then when I get back around to the other side, I'll slow it down again. Now remember, when you get to this lump here, remember I like to go over this a few times just because I don't trust this little thread to go over this just once. So I like to back stitch and go forward again. And sometimes you kind of have to help your fabric along here too, because you're asking it to do a lot. It's stitching over like 8 layers of fabric. I also use super strong needles, so like the leather ones. Okay, so remember, we're about to round the corner. I put this here so that I would not forget that I'm going to leave this open. All right, so when I turn here, I'm going to leave it open a little bit. All right, so I'm going to stitch it a little bit, but I'm going to leave myself, I have this opening all the way up to here. So I'm going to do it a little bit, but then I'm going to go back and back stitch, and then I'm going to stop. Okay. Okay, let's head to the mat. Okay, so we took it off the machine, and remember we have an opening here, which we're going to use now because we want to turn this inside out. So we're gonna, and remember, thankfully we opened up our zipper here. I'm gonna open it up a little bit more with my finger. And that's just gonna help us to be able to turn the entire bag inside out. So we have to pull the outer fabric through the zipper, which is right here, and then also out through this hole. So let's do that. So we're going to, sometimes I think I've heard people call this birthing the bag, which I think is such an interesting name, but all right, so we're gonna do that, and then we're going to actually pull this guy through, and I'm gonna open it up a little bit. Now that I can see the zipper right here. I'm gonna open this up a little bit more. Maybe I should have opened it all the way, especially since we have zipper tabs here. But yeah, we're gonna open this up. Okay, and then even though we are going to end up sewing this lining, I'm gonna push it in just because I need to be able to get to these corners. So I need to be able to stick my finger through that hole that we made. And again, this is where your bone folder can come in handy because you can actually use it to push out your corners. I think I put mine, oh, mine fell on the floor. Okay, here it is. Okay, so you can use your bone folder here. And remember, there's a hole still in this lining, which is good because we're gonna need it to push out these corners. So again, nothing sharp here, okay? We're just gonna try to wiggle our corners out. And our interfacing made it so that we have a pretty sturdy lining and a sturdy outer fabric. So that's why we did that. If you didn't, your bag would just be a little floppier, which is okay. I just like a more luxury feeling on my totes because it makes me feel like, you know, they're like expensive, even though they weren't, because they just cost me whatever the sheet of printable fabric was is what it cost me basically. And then the little piece of fabric that we used for the lining and the little tabs. See, I have a stubborn corner here. So hold on, let me pull this off camera so I can put it in my face and see it. Hold on. All right. Corner pulled out. All right, and then also we want to look at these up here. Look at our little zipper tab. So we're going to use the hole again to get into this little area also. And I'm going to use my little bone folder to push this out here on this side as well. Because this is our little tab. There we go. There we go. Push this out. I use my finger first for like the preliminary pulling out, and then when I want to get like in the very corner, that's when I bring the bone folder in. All right, So now all we have to do is, even though we pushed our lining in, we're actually going to pull it back out of the zipper because we need to sew it closed, but we needed to push it in so that we could get access to the corners on this exterior fabric. Okay, so I got the corners out the best I can, and now I'm going to actually pull this lining back through. And the reason we're going to do this is because, remember, this has a hole. And so I'm going to push out these corners also, not all the way, but push them out enough. The corners on the lining. And this was a short side. So sometimes people put the little, the hole in the center. And I understand why they do that, because it makes it a little easier when you're trying to find the other side. But as long as you leave enough space, it's fine. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to pull this tight, and that's going to show us where the line is, like how this straight line. And I'm going to tuck this in to match that line. So we're going to just fold this down like so that it's on one side. And then I'm just going to use my finger to kind of press it. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side because we want it to look like a straight line. And then we're going to end up stitching this closed, which many of you have like done a little bit of sewing, but I know some of you are like super duper beginners like I was when I started as an adult, you know. Okay, so look at this. So you see how it looks straight? That is what we want. But remember, this is on the inside of our bag. So is anyone going to see this? Not really. Not really, but I still like it to be nice, right? So we want our stuff to be nice. All right, and I am going to use a few clips here to hold this closed, just to save myself some stress. Since I already got it in a line, I want to keep it in a line. Now, some people like iron this down. I don't, because I just don't think it's necessary. But if you want to do that, you can. And then that way you probably wouldn't even have to add clips because it would just stay closed. But I'm just going to add clips because I'm not going back over to the ironing board again. I'm not doing it. All right. So zip, clip here, clip here. And because we're not leaving that much fabric, and you know what? The reason why I'm having trouble is because I did not cut the corners. You see how like my corners look a little bit rounded? I'm okay with it, but even out here it kind of does. And it's because there's a little bit of bulk right here because I did not miter the corners before, but I'm not going to worry about that. And I'm not turning this bag back inside out because I think it's fine. But if you want super sharp, mega sharp corners, then make sure you miter before we turn this bag inside out after we stitched it, okay? That's what I should have done, but I didn't, and I'm not going to. And I think the bag is still going to be perfect. Okay, so now we have this closed. We're going to stitch this, and then we are going to be done, guys. So let's go one more time to the machine. You have it in you, and then we're going to be done. Okay, guys, we're at the machine again. Now, when I do this, I like to go as close to humanly possible to that edge. So I'm not even going to tell you a measurement because I don't even follow measurement. I literally backstitch it. I go forward first, right? And then I backstitch. And I like to keep this literally at the very edge, okay? Sometimes I even miss it. So I have to double check and make sure there's not still holes. But I like to go literally to the very edge, guys, because I know that the fabric underneath that's holding this is very, very, very short. So I like to go to the very, very, very edge. Uh-oh, went a little bit too close to the edge. Hold on. If you go off the edge, just go back stitch. Okay, and then we're gonna go close to the edge. Stay close to the edge. Now I'm gonna double check this before I, because, you know, if you have to go farther in, you got to go farther in, you know. And let's keep going because I think that my back stitch is right about here. So let us keep going. Okay. And then let's back stitch. And let's go forward and then let's look. Okay, before we move our machine, I'm going to look at this. And I'm going to see, do I have any holes here? Let me zoom in for you. Fix your zoom. Okay, I'm like, do I have any holes? Is there any openings? Did my thing, like, so see right here, it didn't catch this underneath. So I'm going to go back to the machine Everywhere else looks good. So there's a little spot right here where it did not catch the bottom fabric, which is going to leave a hole. So because there's a little hole right here, I'm actually going to go through and I'm going to stitch it. And I'm going to just stitch it on this side because I'm not really going to I'm not worried about what looks like the top stitch and what doesn't. But I want to make sure that I catch that little part that left a little bit of a hole. Okay, so I'm going to go forward. I'm going to back stitch. And then I'm going to go forward again. Okay, so now we're gonna see here that I stitched across and I made sure that that hole is closed, okay? Okay, so now we're basically done. Let's just head back to the mat. We're gonna stick our lining in and then we're gonna be done. Okay, so I'm gonna just trim our threads since this is gonna be on the inside of our bag. And I don't want any extra string, any extra thread, you know, just hanging out inside. I'm gonna trim these. All the other ones were kind of hidden in the lining and hidden on the inside of the bag. But this is going to actually be visible when you look inside the bag. So I am going to trim this. And I'm going to trim that. Okay, and then we're almost done. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? Let me back out a little bit so you can see good. And now we're going to stick this back in here. Oh my gosh, and our bag is complete. We did it, and it feels super high quality, guys. Like, this bag feels so good. It feels fancy schmancy. It feels like someone made it, which is what we want, right? That's what we want. So we want it to feel like it was made with love, which it was. Now, if you want, you can press your bag, but I don't want to because remember, I'm trying not to iron on this fabric. Okay, so let me close my zipper and look. How cute is this? Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Oh my word. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. It is so stinking cute. I'm obsessed. And if this wasn't a printed fabric, I would press it open just to make it look, you know, fancy schmancy, but I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. When you open it, you open it up here and look. Oh my gosh, so cute, guys. And, you know, it's not perfect. You know, did we make some mistakes along the way? Probably, but it was made with so much love and it's super cute. So I love it. Okay, guys, so that is it. That is my little zippered pouch tutorial, and we made our cute little zipper tote here. Oh my gosh, I love it. And it opens like so, and it is so cute, and it is made with my all-time favorite collection of all time, which is Woven Grove. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you try this and you make one of these. Let me know if you're going to try printing on fabric, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.